This is Henry from Woodhaven.
Hi, this is Thomas Lindberg from At the Gates.
Hi, this is Yoshi, drummer and pianist from Japan.
This is Dax Riggs.
This is Meshach Attack from Mangled Corpse, Maniac, and Demon Spell.
This is Rat Skates of Overkill.
Hi, I'm Frank, bass player of Tankard.
And I'm Garrett, the singer of Tankard.
This is Mike Scotia from Ministry and Rigor Mortis.
Hey, this is Casey Orr from Rigor Mortis, War, Ministry, the Hellion.
This is Hardin Harrison from Rigor Mortis.
This is Bruce Corbett of Rigor Mortis and War Beast.
Hey everybody, this is Doyle Bright from Hallowed, Rigor Mortis, and now Saw.
Hey, this is Pierce Williams for Torture Rack and Skeletal Remains. You're listening to Japan Mix Quarantine Podcast.
This is an interview with Pierce Williams on Sunday, February 21st, 2021 by Nick Perkel. Now, Pierce, can you tell me about getting your very first drum kit?
My very first one, I was 12 years old, but it goes back to like when I was 8 or 9 years old. I got a little electronic like toy kit from my parents for Christmas, and that thing broke within a few months, but like I still played on it even though it was broken. So then, like a few years later, it took me like 4 years to get a drum set actually, but yeah, before I actually got my drum kit, I had to start off with a practice pad and like 2 books. I had to read all the basically all the exercises and stuff and like prove that I was like dedicated to it. And then by the time I was like 12 years old, I got my first drum kit. I can't remember like what it was, what the brand was. It was just like a cheap like $100 kit that they got me for my like 12th birthday or some shit.
Did you take any lessons with private tutors to hone your skills when you were younger?
Yeah, I had 2 drum teachers. Both their names were actually Ben. I don't remember their last names, but I was pretty young. Yeah, my first drum teacher, he just pretty much taught me how to like do like covers, just like learn the rock basics. And my second teacher, his name was Ben also, and he taught me more of like Latin type stuff, jazz type stuff, funk, just kind of like expanding my horizons as far as like drums and music in general go. I took lessons from him for, I want to say like 2 or 3 years. And then, I don't know, I just started like reading a bunch of books and just learned by watching YouTube, because at that point YouTube was like just sort of taking off, and you know, a lot of drummers were posting really cool videos on YouTube, so I watched a lot of that.
What past band of yours do you think you really cut your teeth in, not just as performing as a musician, but also just being part of a band?
For every one of my projects, I like put myself into it 110%. I would guess, but honestly, I would say probably Aenigmatum, just because with this new record, I think we all just kind of cut all of our teeth into this new record. Honestly, man, like I started writing the lyrics for the first time for this thing, like, you know, coming up with the art concepts and all this stuff. It was just it's a lot more than just playing drums for this record for me.
Can you tell me what the music scene was like being in a Portland band when Torture Rack formed? And can you give me a rundown on the band over the years?
Portland music scene when Torture Rack was started. I remember it being pretty crazy, actually. Like, yeah, it was just shows every week. Lots of bands, lots of thrash bands at the time. I remember Raptor was a good band back then. There's a lot of thrash bands, a lot of old school death metal bands. It seemed like there was a show like almost every single week. So it was really thriving when Torture Rack first started. And you wanted to know the origins of Torture Rack?
Yeah.
Was it with the last bit of that question?
Exactly.
The rundown. Yeah, so me and Seth were like drunk. I think I was like 19 or 20. We couldn't go into the bar. We were hanging out before our set and whatever, and we got drunk in the van and we were just bullshitting. And I was like, dude, I'm sick and tired of playing drums for, like this amount of bands. And Seth at the time, he was in like Cemetery Lust, Necro Drunks, so he was in like a handful of bands too. And I didn't know this, but he played drums. So we were actually neighbors at the time, and we were just fucking drunk, getting stoned in the band, talking shit. And we were like, dude, let's switch spots. And then I think either the next day or the next week he came over. And then I think we started working on some of the stuff that's on that demo that we did in 2012. And Jason actually lived with me at the time, and he came down and heard what we were doing, and then plugged in his bass, and then we started jamming like these like 3 songs I think we had. I think 2 of them made it to the demo. One song I think we still remember the riffs, but we never recorded it. So yeah, then it was us 3, and then everybody kept telling us that we needed like 2 guitar players for solos, and I'm more of a rhythm guy, and solos aren't my thing. But we got Tony in on it like pretty quick. Like I want to say like 2012. I can't remember if he was on the demo or if he wasn't on the demo, but it was. I mean, he's been with us for like damn near since the beginning. So it's just been us 4 ever since, and yeah.
What was it like recording this year's Pit of Limbs EP?
Oh, it was fun, man. We actually recorded that, let's see, I want to say last January or February in 2020. We recorded it before COVID. And that was really cool. We recorded it all analog at Red Lantern Studio, and by Evan Murphy. It was really quick, really easy. I mean, it's 4 songs, like 6.5 minutes. But it was a fun experience, We just put those songs really quick, and we didn't have enough material for a new record, but we also just had material for this, so we just said fuck it and went in the studio and recorded it. It actually took a really long time to get the artwork. I think David was just really busy, but I mean, it was well worth it because I don't know if you've seen the cover art, but the cover art's fucking awesome. I love it, and I hope fans do. The EP itself has been done for at least a year now, which is really funny.
Any further news you have on Torture Rack at the moment?
Yeah, so we're right now we're working on album number 3. I think we got like 6 or 7 new songs for that. I think, well, I don't want to give away too much, but I think we're going to try and aim for at least 10 songs, 12 songs. We don't have any concepts as far as artwork or anything like that. We have no concepts as for, I think Jason only has a few lyrics written. I'm not too sure as to what we're going to be talking about album title-wise. I'm sure it'll be something having to do with torture and death and killing. But I don't want to give away too much.
So what was it like becoming the drummer for Skeletal Remains just as COVID was starting to take off?
It's been good, man. It's awesome because I love the band and I love those dudes. I think just like anything, it has its ups and downs. Like, obviously the good things is, Skeletal Remains just put out a new record, and, the music's awesome, and we had all these tours lined up, and that's kind of where the downfall is just because of COVID. All these tours we had lined up are canceled, and just basically all the stuff that to keep us active for the whole year is just like everybody else is gone. So, it has its ups and downs. Like, definitely the positives is like, once we get back on stage, we're going to be really tight because, I've been doing nothing this entire lockdown but like practicing drums. So yeah, I feel like once we get on that stage, it'll be as tight as it ever was,
For the new Aenigmatum album, how old was the material that you used, and was this more of like a collaborative effort, or was it like mainly 1 or 2 people's contributions?
So the material for this record, it's all brand new. We didn't start writing this material probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago. We started writing for this record. The first record we did was like each member had these songs written like a decade before. I have a song that I wrote in like high school on that record. So all these songs are like who we are as musicians now. As far as like contributions, we all contributed to the songwriting, you know, because at the end of the day, it's like going to be our stamp. It's our music. So, you know, if nobody's not feeling a riff, you know, we're going to scrap it or we're going to work on it. So in that sense, it's collaborative. However, like, I think we all kind of took turns and wrote 3 songs each. You know, we go home, write the riffs, show everybody, and then we all work on it together. Whereas this new batch of material that we're starting to work on, we want it to be more of just us in a room, like working together. So for this one, yeah, it's just been people donating 2 or 3 songs a piece. And it's almost done. This record's almost done. We have to reamp our guitars because there's been some clashing frequencies, and I just hope this album gets done soon.
Now, I really dug the progression of your new Azath song. Can you tell me about composing that piece?
So I think, yeah, Brandon wrote that. I messaged him a few days ago. He said he doesn't really remember writing it, actually. But they sent me that track with the click probably like November or December. So I've been working on it for about 2 or 3 months, and I just got a new interface, so I'm able to record my own drums. So I just took it to the practice space and set up all my mics, and then I already was practicing the song before I recorded it, so I had an idea of what I wanted to do. But that song is the first song that like I recorded my own drums to, so I'm pretty stoked on it. As for composing the drums for that, man, it's kind of hard because like nobody is in the same room with me while I'm working on that stuff, because I think Brandon lives in Seattle, Derek lives in like Canada, and Andrew lives in California. So when they send that stuff to me, I just play what I play and, you know, hope they like it. And then I sent them that and asked if they wanted me to redo it, and they said no. So it was a pretty easy process, honestly. I just hit record and then played, and then that's what came out.
Hey man, just wondering, do you ever like to record your drums without a click track?
Yeah, man. So like, I've never really played to a click track until recently. Honestly, this last few weeks have been my only like real times like not playing to a click, or sorry, playing to a click, because I'm, you know, tracking stuff that like I'm just like experimenting. But yeah, the Aenigmatum album was not recorded with a click. A lot of the Blood Freak stuff I did back in the day was not recorded to a click. All of the Torturak material is never recorded to a click. I do play with a click though, like by myself, just to like, you know, dial in certain like aspects of songs. But like, as for like playing live, like I'll never play live to a click. But if I'm like tracking a record, I think it's always a good idea. There's like good things about it and good things about it and not so much good things about it.
For your band Levitus, I'm a bit surprised hearing the clean vocals on it, along with the death metal vocals. What's in store for this band?
I can't really give away too much about that either, because I don't know really. We have 3 songs recorded for one EP, and we have 3 songs recorded for another EP. So essentially we have 2 releases ready to go, but I think we're still in the mixing stages for both of them. The first EP, I think, is just like the original demo songs that they put out on Bandcamp like 2 or 3 years ago. They're just redoing it with better production and whatnot. So that'll be like one of the releases. The other release is just like 3 brand new, fresh tracks. And I think we're just going to be mixing and mastering it right now. But I think they're just going to be looking for a label to put it out. And I mean, obviously, if shows were a thing, we'd be playing shows. We played our first show actually like right before the shutdown. And that was that.
Was that your very last show before the quarantine?
Before COVID? Oh, man, I was honestly thinking about that the other day. Like, what was my last show? I think it was a Torture Act show Torture Act show was my last show I played before the shutdown. I think it was at the, what was it, the Twilight Room? It was probably at the Twilight, yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good question, man. I was thinking that the other day. I think Witch Vomit had the last show in Portland before the shutdown. If not, maybe it was like the week before or something like that. But yeah, it sucks, man. Like, not going to shows drive me crazy.
For the albums you worked on, which one did you find you were able to experiment the most with different time signatures?
That's a good question. I feel like a lot of the stuff like Aenigmatum does is like unconsciously written in odd times. Like, we don't put too much thought. I mean, we put a lot of thought into the riffs, but like, we don't make it an effort to be like, all right, this riff is going to be in 5 or 6 or something like that. Like, it's not predetermined. It just so happens to come out like that. But like, yeah, man, Aenigmatum is probably the band that's a lot more experimental. Let's see. I do like to sneak a few weird time signature riffs to Torture Act. There's one in particular on the new Pit of Limbs. It's which song is it? I think it's the last song, but there's one riff in there that it's kind of like it's straight, but it's not straight. You know what I mean? It kind of throws you for a loop. So yeah, I like writing that type of stuff personally. So you can always expect to hear that with whatever I'm doing.
What is your most treasured musical possession?
Most treasured musical possession? Probably my drumsticks, man. Having my signature on a pair of drumsticks is like a huge accomplishment for me, and I'm extremely proud of it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
What is your 3 most hallowed Pacific Northwest albums?
Oh man, Oxygen Destroyer. Frightmare, Oxygen Destroyer, and Ritual Necromancy. The albums, oh man, I can't remember which one the Oxygen Destroyer is called because it's a super long title. It's like Abhorrent Manifestations of Violence and Death or something like that. And then, let's see, Frightmare is Bringing Back the Bloodshed. And then, yeah, the Ritual Necromancy, Disinterred Horror.
Good answers. Now, favorite ghost story or urban legend from living in Portland?
That's another good question, too, because there's a lot of them. Let's see. I was going to say something about the Oregon State Hospital because I'm watching that movie, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest right now. But actually, I was thinking about it earlier. D.B. Cooper, famous story. It's pretty crazy, actually. He robbed a bank, or he got he had $200,000 in cash or whatever, and he hijacked a airplane. And then I guess apparently he jumped out of the airplane, parachuted, and then landed somewhere in the forest. And the FBI to this day has never captured him or even seen any remains from D.B. Cooper. So he is supposedly still at large.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've read a few things about his story, and he must have been a really talented skydiver to pull off a stunt like that. And he may have been a professional military person.
Dude. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty crazy to think that. Dude could just be still, out there. I don't know. I mean, obviously, probably not right now, but I mean, who knows? Because I mean, if he was dead, they would have found some, but they never did. So I mean, I don't know. That's the biggest mystery. It's just who knows?
Would you like to go back to any questions?
No, I'm pretty good, man. Sorry, this is my first over the phone interview. It's a little interesting because I'm just looking up at the ceiling, not No, I think I'm good on the questions, man.
Final words?
No, not really. Thank you for the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Likewise. I mean,
thanks for anybody who thanks to anybody who's listening. And yeah, thanks, man.
I mean, Torture Rack has been on my want list of interviews for a little while, so really appreciate you checking you guys off. Now, this has been an interview with Pierce Williams on Sunday, February 21st, 2021, by Nick Perkel.